Hi, I'm Megan and welcome to my kitchen. About a month or so ago, I posted here on YouTube as well as on my Instagram and asked you all what videos you'd like to see from me for this year. And I had lots of requests for air fryer recipes. So in today's What's for Breakfast video, I'll be sharing with you 4 easy and delicious air fryer breakfasts. So if you could use some breakfast inspiration, just keep watching. First up, I'm making breakfast casserole. Now, I'm going to do a couple quick notes in just a second, but I first want to show you what I'm going to use. Now, feel free to use whatever you prefer, what you've got on hand. This is a great way to use up odds and ends you've got in your fridge. First up, we're going to need some eggs. I know that with the cost of eggs right now, a couple things about this, though, is because you're using other ingredients, you can bulk up the eggs so you're not having to use quite as many as you would if you were just making, say, scrambled or fried eggs. And the other thing is price compare. In my area, I found the best price on eggs at Dollar General. Now, you're going to need a little bit of milk. You could use almond milk. I have a little bit of heavy cream on hand that I really need to use up, so I'm going to do that. As far as seasonings go, use whatever you prefer. I'm just going to use some salt and pepper. I have some sharp cheddar cheese, some mushrooms, spinach, and cubed ham. And again, all this was in my fridge, and I just needed to use it up. So to put this together, I've got this bowl. I'm going to add in my eggs and then add my heavy cream or milk, whatever you're using, the seasonings, and then I'm going to take a fork and whisk that together really well. Now for the quick disclaimers I mentioned just a second ago. First, nothing you're going to see in today's video is earth-shattering or genius. These are all things you've probably seen a million times before. You've probably made them before. But I feel like, especially with air fryer recipes, I see things on YouTube and Pinterest and Instagram all the time of people making things like this that I've made or seen 100 times, but I've just never thought to do it in the air fryer. I'm constantly seeing things that I'm like, oh my gosh, why didn't I think of that? I didn't know you could do that in the air fryer. So that's part of why I wanted to share these with you. And also, like I said, I got air fryer recipe requests. These recipes are great if you're super busy in the morning, if you don't want to wait the 15 or 20 minutes just to heat up the oven and then wait for things to cook. Breakfast casseroles in particular normally take like an hour or so in the oven. And so by us doing it in the air fryer and doing smaller portions, it will be done a lot faster. And secondly, you do not have to have an air fryer to make any of these things that I'm making today. You can totally do these in the oven. While I was chatting, I added the cheese, my veggies, and the ham and just stirred it together really well. I'm going to set that to the side. So to cook these in the air fryer, we're going to use ramekins and we are going to grease them really, really well. I'm just going to use some cooking spray. You can use oil, melted butter, whatever you prefer. While I was getting the cooking spray, I saw the Tony Chachere's seasoning, and I always add this to my scrambled eggs, so I'm just going to add some of that in, give it one last stir, and then I'm just going to measure out my breakfast casserole. Now, with the amount of eggs that I used and the other mix-ins, I got 3 breakfast casseroles out of this. Now, my particular air fryer, I have a smaller air fryer. It would only hold 2 of them, but that's okay. It's going to work just fine. I'm going to cook these at 340 degrees for 4 minutes, and then the recipe said to cook them for another 3 to 4 minutes or until they were set. Now, this first batch, which is what you're seeing here, did get a little brown on top before the eggs cooked all the way through. So when I went to cook that third breakfast casserole that wouldn't fit in the air fryer basket the first time around, what I did was after the first 4 minutes of cooking, I stirred the breakfast casserole and that totally helped it. So I would recommend you do that. So again, just to summarize, 340 degrees, cook it for about 4 minutes, give it a stir, cook it another 3 or 4 minutes or until the eggs are set, and that's it. So to serve this up, I just served it with some fresh fruit. And like I said, this totally didn't even take hardly 10 minutes to put this together start to finish. And it was a really, really filling and yummy breakfast. The next idea I've got for you are sausage, egg, and cheese biscuits. And I'm saying idea because it's really more of a method than a recipe. But I saw this on Instagram a couple months or so ago and saved it. I'll have the Instagram story linked down in the description box below. But this is what actually inspired this air fryer breakfast video, because when I saw her do this, I was like, oh my gosh, why have I never thought of this? And you'll see, this is so easy to put together. And this is perfect for a breakfast for 1 or 2. You can also do it if you have a larger family or more people and, just do it in batches. Here's what I'm going to use to make this. First up, you'll need biscuits. The lady in the Instagram reel used canned biscuits, and I would say just for the cooking at times, I would use a canned biscuit as well. I'm going to use some eggs. I've got just some sliced American cheese. Use whatever cheese you prefer. And I'm going to use these brown and served turkey sausage patties. I haven't tried any other kinds of meat, but I'm sure you could probably use ham, Canadian bacon, or regular bacon. I would just cut the regular bacon like maybe in half so it fits better into the air fryer and so it doesn't take nearly as long to cook. I'm going to start out by spraying my air fryer basket. Now, if you don't want to do this, or if you have one of the air fryers that suggests you don't do this, you could just use oil, melted butter, or use one of the silicone liners. I'm going to open up my can of biscuits. Now, I'm just doing 2 biscuits for my husband and I this morning. I've added the biscuits, and the lady on the Instagram story, she just used aluminum foil that she kind of folded up into a little packet. So I'm going to try one egg like that, and then the other egg, I'm going to use one of these silicone cupcake liners and just kind of test it out, see which one works better. So I'm going to spray both of the silicone liner and the aluminum foil with some of the cooking spray. I'm going to add just a little bit of salt and pepper to each egg. Next, I'm taking 2 of the sausage patties and I'm going to add those to the air fryer basket, and then that's it. This is going to go into the air fryer. I cooked this at 330 degrees. I cooked it for 4 minutes. After 4 minutes, this is what it looked like. I'm going to flip the biscuits and the sausage patties over and then cook this for another, I would say maybe 3 to 5 minutes, depending on, the size of biscuit you use, how your air fryer works. Once the biscuits are cooked all the way through and are brown and your eggs are cooked, it's done. All I've got left to do is just assemble the biscuit. So I like to take a fork and go around the biscuit and then just gently pull it apart. Once I've done that, I'm going to add a sausage patty to each biscuit bottom. And then I'm going to take a slice of the American cheese. I just used 1 slice and tore it into quarters, and I used a half a slice on each biscuit. Next, I'm going to add my egg. Both of the eggs came out of the aluminum foil and the silicone liner nice and easy. They didn't stick, and I really didn't have a preference. I feel like they both turned out really well. Now, I will say the silicone liner egg was a little bit thicker, but I just used the top of my biscuit and just kind of press it down. That's it. Now, because I used the sliced American cheese, the residual heat from the biscuit and the egg melted the cheese. But if you're using some other kind of cheese, you could just pop this back in the air fryer for maybe a minute to melt that cheese. To serve this up, I just did some orange smiles or orange segments, and this was so yummy, and I could not believe I had sausage, egg, and cheese biscuits in less than 10 minutes, and I didn't have to fool around with preheating the oven and all that. I will definitely be making these time and time again. Next, I'm making French toast sticks. Now, I had saved an Instagram story with a French toast stick recipe. I also had one pinned, and I'll have to go back and look at my notes. I don't remember exactly which recipe I ended up using, but I'll have it linked down in the description box below for you. Here's what I'm going to use to make these. Normally when you do like French toast sticks, you use Texas toast, so that's what I'm going to use. I happen to have some on hand that I needed to use up, but I'm sure any kind of thicker bread would work just fine. We've got some eggs, vanilla, milk. I have a little bit of cream that I need to use up, so I'm going to do that. And then we've got some cinnamon, sugar, brown sugar. In this small container, we're going to start out by making the egg mixture. So we're going to crack our eggs into that container and then add in our milk, or in my case, like I said, I'm using the cream. I'm also going to add in the vanilla, and then I like to whisk my eggs with a fork. I just feel like it works better than even a whisk, but that's just personal preference, and I'm going to whisk it together really, really well and then set that to the side. In a separate small container, I'm going to make the cinnamon sugar mixture. Now, in theory, I'm sure you could skip this step and just do the egg mixture if you want to. You may want to add a little bit of sweetness to the egg mixture if you do that, though, just personal preference. But this cinnamon sugar mixture is really what makes it taste like fast food style French toast sticks like Burger King, Wendy's, other places like that. So in this bowl, like I said, just added the cinnamon, the granulated sugar, the brown sugar. I'm going to mix that until it's well combined. Set that to the side. Once again, I'm going to spray my air fryer basket. And again, if you don't want to use cooking spray, you could use oil, melted butter, or a silicone liner. But you do want to make sure you do something, to kind of help with the stickiness with all the sugar in this. So I've got the Texas toast. I'm going to cut each piece of bread into 3 different pieces to make these stick shapes, and then we're just going to dip them into the egg mixture. You do not want to let these sit very long at all. Normally when I make French toast, like a whole piece of bread, I like to let it sit to let the egg soak in. Because these are so small, you do not need to let it sit very long at all. Once we've got it in the egg mixture, we're going to dip it into the cinnamon sugar mixture and then place it into the air fryer basket. I cooked these at 350 degrees for 3 minutes, gave them a flip, and then cooked them for about another 3 or 4 minutes is what I was supposed to do. But to be quite honest with you, I completely lost track of time. And I cooked them several minutes longer than what I was supposed to. So they got a little over brown and were a little on the crispy side, but they were still delicious. So yummy. I will make these again. Like I said, they tasted like a fast food breakfast or like you get at a restaurant, or even like the frozen French toast sticks. They were super delicious. I just served it with some maple syrup and some fresh fruit. That was breakfast. The last idea I've got for you today are like the easiest muffins and the quickest muffins I've ever made. Just 2 ingredients. First, you'll need a package of muffin mix. Use whatever brand or flavor you prefer. I like the strawberry. It's my absolute favorite. And then my particular package also calls for milk. Most muffin packages that I'm aware of call for that, but you'll just need whatever ingredients your particular muffin package calls for. So to put these together, so easy. All I'm going to do is add my muffin mix to my bowl, and then according to the package instructions again, I'm going to add in the milk and stir it just until it's moistened. You don't want to over mix this. I'm going to set that to the side. Now, when I was looking at Pinterest, for how different people cooked these muffins differently, some people said that you should cook them in ramekins because they come out a little misshapen if you use cupcake liners. That doesn't really bother me, though. I don't care if they're a little misshapen. I'm a little misshapen, so whatever. But if that bothers you, you could just use ramekins. You'll just need to adjust the cooking time. So like I said, I'm using the silicone liners. Make sure you grease them really well. And I think I got 7 muffins out of this one little cheapy muffin mix. So really budget friendly. I am going to fill them about 2/3 of the way full, and this is what they look like. They are going to go into the air fryer. I cooked these at 320 degrees for about 7 minutes. After maybe 6 or 7 minutes, depending on your air fryer, I would try them with a toothpick. If they are golden and the toothpick comes out clean, they're done. You may need to cook them for another 2 or 3, maybe 4 minutes or so. And if you're using a ramekin, again, you just have to go by, whether the toothpick is clean or not. But these were the muffins that when they were done, and they were delicious. Tasted just like you cooked them in the oven, but again, didn't have to spend the time heating up the oven and waiting for that and all that jazz. It was super quick and easy and little cleanup. Really just the bowl and the liners. All right, that is it for today's video. I hope you got some ideas from this, different things you can try in your air fryer, or I hope it at least inspired you to look for new ways to use your air fryer. That is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked this video. If you did, hit the thumbs up button below and subscribe to my channel if you're not already, and I hope you have a great rest of the day. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.